Oh, another thing is, I totally agree. The Cubs are blowing up their team potentially. No confirm, but if that happens, there's another third baseman out there.
There is another third baseman out there with, I believe, far more questions associated with him than Arenado, obviously.
But a third baseman with outfield eligibility?
A third baseman nonetheless. I need to refamiliarize myself with Chris Bryant's, overall stats, but I think the general consensus, and I believe I agree with this, is that he has been having a rough time in the last 2-3 years, or he has been in a
from his rookie season. He hasn't been himself back in 2016. So, but I mean, I would love to take a shot. I mean. If we could sign him back, though, that's the thing. Is if they're going to blow up, these are all the guys on their 1-year contracts, and it's Chris Bryant, Javier Baez, Anthony Rizzo, and Schwarber. Mm-hmm. So they're all 1-year deals, and if those guys are going to be traded, it's going to be for teams contending now, because those guys are all going to want contracts in free agency, and the Cubs know they can't sign them all back.
No,
so it would be a good time for them to blow up, and I mean. Again, we're still in this weird place. We'll have to see how the 2021 season plays out, but we're in this place where are we going to try and go for it and buy another piece? Because when we bought in this year, it was like a safe buy. It was these guys can help us, but not make an influential difference.
And I'm going to be honest, I suppose we were buying in, but I don't even know if what we did is necessarily called buying in. I guess I looked at it more as well, we're going to make playoffs, we need some sort of anything. It's we were readying up or something.
Yeah,
I guess it's buying in. But
it's buying in safely is what I said. It's we're not spending too much, but we're also not saying, hey, we're not giving up here. We're going to try.
Agreed.
And I like that. It's you might say it's you're 50-50, but our team's also half in, half out, right?
It's not 50-50 if you're that's just intelligent in my mind what we did. We were, based on the record, going to make postseason, but barely. Barely. And by looking at the team, you're okay, would love to see it happen, but it's probably not going to happen. Because we'll give yourself a chance.
Because the thing is, I remember in 2015, we were I think we ended after the All-Star break, we were 50-51 was our record, and it's you look at that and you're oh, you're kind of where the Blue Jays were, this year. It's you're in the middle, what's going on? But they bought the hell in. Getting, I can't even nail some players. Price, Tulowitzki, Ben Revere, and all these bench pieces, all these crazy elite players. Hoskins. Hoskins is his name? Really good reliever. 2 really good relievers. Oh my God, we bought the hell in. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we ended up the season going 43 and 19, and then made postseason, beat the Yankees, and so it's that's buying the hell in. But also that blew up our team for the next few years.
And let's not forget, they were in a much, much different place than we were. Yeah. Considering that, a lot of their core pieces were a bit older with, contracts coming up and stuff like that. Whereas for us, it's I can watch the game. I can put on the eye test and I can realize this is not a World Series team yet.
Yeah.
Maybe in a bit. I have to ask you, though, you were talking about buying in safely and everything like that. Are any of these Cubs a potential option that could be a safe buy? Because, I don't know. It sounds to me that they're going to be reasonably expensive.
I think probably the safest buy would be Schwarber. I know that Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo are all going to cost. Schwarber would be obviously the fourth man, but he's still good.
Actually, to be honest, I think out of all of those guys, would like Schwarber the best.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Even Rizzo?
I mean, I do like Rizzo a lot too, but I think he's going to cost a lot more.
He's going to cost a lot, yeah.
Considering that Schwarber, I'm actually just pulling up his stats right now. He had a pretty down year last year, but the man has elite power.
Yeah. And here's the thing, the reason why I say that too is because obviously Rizzo, Baez, and Bryant are going to clog up the infield a bit. Bryant may be the other option, but it depends on how well he's doing next year and how much he's going to cost. But Schwarber's an outfielder, and like we said, if we don't get an outfielder this season, then I think Schwarber could be a great option if you're trying to find some more help, in that position. So I would say that would be my go for. And that would be the safe. That hopefully it wouldn't cost too much. It all depends on how they're doing going into 2021.
Right. Well, would we trade for these people though, like before the season starts or during the season? Because
that's the question. It's like if they're gonna blow up, do the Cubs want to see? Because like if Brian had a down year and Schwarber had a down year, are they gonna let them play in order to get more value?
That's the thing. You're rolling the dice a bit. Schwarber, he batted. I'm looking at it right now. Last year, 188.
Yeah.
But he still had 11 home runs. So what do you? If you're the Cubs right now, like you're probably selling. You're gonna have to sell at a bit of a discount.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do let him play and then he bats 188 again, it's like he's almost worth nothing now.
Right, and that's the question. Well, you could probably, and that's the thing. He would then become like a safe trade. Like it's like a VR or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's like, but also, Schwarber. It's a piece regardless. It's like you could only. It's like damage already been done looking at 2020, but if you let him play, maybe he hits 220. It's like okay, and then he hits still in the same rate of power of like home runs. It's like okay, yeah. Then he increases his value a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think right now, if the Cubs were to trade before the season, I think you could trade Baez and Rizzo like easily. I think their value is still very high. Bryant is probably not as high just because of the struggles. Baez struggled a little bit last year, but I think his defensive and the need for shortstops right now, like the Lindor craze, is probably going to be a little bit higher. But yeah, I think Schwarber would just be the fourth option for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are a lot of options there on Chicago. I don't know how interested I am in those guys, but I'm interested to see what the Cubs do, and I haven't seen any proposed offers or anything like that. So if
rumors.
Yeah, like if they're not asking for that much, for a Chris Bryant, okay, I'm ready to take a shot, and who knows, maybe he does do really well, and we can get him for a long term.